There are 5 things that you should consider when it comes to marriage. I am not opposed to it. I am not for it. Let me just say this disclaimer, because YouTube's gone on this rampage lately, demonetizing accounts and removing accounts from being showed on the recommended feed because of hate speech and blah, blah, blah. YouTube, it's not hate speech. I'm just going to point to some facts here, okay? So just chill out. And feminists, you can chill out too. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this with you today, these are stats that are based on feminine imperative, feminine nature, feminine dating strategies, the way family law operates in the Western world. And when I say Western world, I'm not just talking about, North America, Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand, anywhere where any of this applies. This will apply to all women in general, but when family law comes into the case, and well, let me put it to you this way. Anytime you invite the state, the government, to come into your life and decide what happens with your life and your money and any time you can spend with your kids, that's where this applies. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So first point that I want to get to, these are all stats, guys. I'm not making this up. It's not pie in the sky. You hate women, Rich. No, I don't. I love women, in fact. First stat, 4 to 5 divorces originate from women. It is not men that are choosing to end marriages throughout the Western world. It is primarily women. In my divorce, I initiated it. There's not a lot of guys that want to leave the marriage. We're more apt, we're more likely, we're more predisposed to stay in the marriage on a longer term basis. So for the most part, it's women that tend to leave, and they can exit for any reason they want. Women always reserve the right to change their mind at any given time. Okay, it can be a year into the marriage, it could be 10 years, it could be 20 years. At any given time, if they get bored, start banging somebody else, they see monetary reason, they want to have more control over the kids. There's a whole list of reasons that can come out of it. I mean, I've coached close to 100 people now on the Clarity platform, and I've heard all kinds of stories. But women, the thing you need to understand, I should have added this as a 6th point. Women reserve the right to change their mind at any given time. Okay, so just because you say nuptials, and I do, and forever ever until kingdom come, because of the world that we live in today, it's pretty easy for women to get into that 4 out of 5 environment. And by the way, guys, when it comes to second-time marriages, it's a much higher rate even then for women to initiate, because they've been through it once, they understand what the process and concept is like. Point number 2, 90% of alimony goes to women. It's not women that are paying men alimony payments. It is men that are paying women. I've talked about hypergamy and the hypergamous nature of women on my videos before. Let's just go over it very quickly to recap for those of you that might be newer to the channel. Just to remind you, those of you that have watched more of my videos in the past. Women tend to marry up. They tend to date up, marry up. They'll always look for a better deal. So guys, accountants, lawyers, doctors, professionals, plumbers, anybody that's, making a great life, has built a great life for themselves, has acquired assets, you are a high value guy. You're a target for women. Women tend to target guys like that. Actually, it was pointed out in this book. I'll link this in the description below. Tactical Guide to Women. If you want to date women on a longer term basis, this will help you properly vet them. And he mentioned in here, women with personality disorders will specifically target higher value men. Anyway, check that out. It's a pretty good read. So they start off in the bottom. They might be doing, I don't know, whatever. They could be doing hair and makeup artistry, hairdressing, dog walking, early childhood educators. The types of things that women, nursing, things like that. The types of positions that women flock to tend to pay less than what guys earn. And it's not because, they get 70 cents on a dollar or whatever the made up stat is. It's because they choose those types of jobs, shorter hours, it's just what it pays. You can't expect to get paid the same as a guy on an oil rig for cutting hair. It just is what it is. So hypergamy, women tend to marry up. They'll marry up. Their situation improves. They have a better lifestyle, a nicer house. They have kids. Maybe they don't have kids. But either way, they spend some time together. Family law gets in the way of things. And then it will dictate to you what happens when there's a hard break. They start dating. He's up here. She's down here. Da-da-da-da. Lives combined. She comes up here. She's all of a sudden at that level now. Time passes. Things don't go well. It ends. Let's have a hard break. And then there's a ... after that. Now, what is a ... Basically, in many places in the world, depending on how you've lived, what family law states in your province, territory, state, whatever it is, whatever family law states, you can be responsible for maintaining that lifestyle that she's been living for the last couple of years. Could be 18 months. I don't know. It could be 18 years, but you're responsible in many places for maintaining that, even though you're not together. So you can separate, you can part ways, and you could still be paying to maintain her lifestyle over a longer period of time. So you have to be aware of that. One of the things I always tell guys before they want to settle down with a woman is to understand what can possibly happen on the exit. Because, we all know 50% of marriages end in divorce. For first-time marriages, second time, it's even higher. I think it's like 7 out of 10. But talk to a family lawyer so you understand what your obligations will be where you live, in the environment that you live in. So alimony goes to women for the most part. Custody orders. 80% of custody orders go to the mother. Okay, now I know that there's going to be women that are going to be like, oh, the guy ran away, or he was loser, he's a crack addict, da-da-da-da. Well, women are the gatekeepers to reproduction. So if you're choosing losers, you got nobody to blame but yourself. But I'm going to point to more so here, virtuous stand-up men, because it's not the losers that are creating this stat. In fact, there's a lot of guys that want to spend time with their kids post-divorce, but because of the way money flows and the way family law is written, it's beneficial to the woman to have custody of the children, to call the shots, to pull the strings, to decide where they're going to live, what school they're going to go into, religion, whatever, medical decisions, all that sort of stuff. Because of the way money flows in family law, it's much more beneficial to women to have to be the primary caregiver. Let's just call it primary caregiving of the children. So it could be like here in Ontario where I live, if one parent has a child more than 60% of the time, they're the primary caregiver. Then there's child support payments that go from the parent that's not to the parent that is. She could have the kids 61% of the time. I could have them 39% of the time. Even though it's pretty close, I'm still paying her a ton of money. And the way the family law tables work, it's not based on how much food and nutrition and extracurriculars a child needs. You could be spending $500 a month before you get divorced, taking care of that child and rearing them properly, feeding them healthy, nutritious food. And all of a sudden, when you get divorced, you might end up paying $3,000 a month, depending on what child support tables say, because that's the way family law works. I'm telling you these stories, gentlemen, so you can get into it with your eyes wide open, so you're not surprised and you go, oh, wow, I didn't know that was going to happen. Okay, let's move on to the next fact. So custody orders primarily go to women. Oh, another story I can share. Had a conversation with my lawyer when I was talking about custody. I made it clear that I wanted to share custody of our daughter. It's far better for children to spend equal amounts of time with both parents to make sure that they're healthy, productive, and a contributing member of society. Women that fight for full custody, I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. Unless the father's a total deadbeat loser, I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. It's a control mechanism to run the show and run the money. My lawyer told me this. It was a sad story. He told me quite a few stories, but basically he summed it up with, if you have the penis, you're going to lose in court. That's just the way the family law system works and the way that they award custody arrangements. I know there's going to be some people in the comments that are going to say, that's not true, that's not the experience, and da-da-da. On a balance of probabilities and an accurate, stat, it's very accurate, okay? Next one. Women have zero incentive to behave well through a divorce. So, there's a lot of stuff I can get into here. I'm going to try to keep this short because I don't want to go into lengthy ass hour-long videos like some YouTubers do. But women do some very nasty things. You've all heard the term, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And you don't even have to do anything to her. You may have been a stand-up virtuous guy that came home. I had a conversation with a guy the other day on my coaching platform. Came home every day, wanted to spend time with a wife and kids. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to be a good father. She got bored and started banging somebody else. She behaved very, very badly in the divorce. There's nothing in family law that discourages women from behaving badly in the course of divorce. And it's usually if you follow the money, because it usually boils down to the money for everything out there. If you follow the money, that's the problem. And the problem is alimony payments, they go to women. The problem is custody orders, they tend to go to women. Women plan these things out months in advance. It's not like they just woke up one morning and just like, I think I'm going to get divorced today because I think I've had enough. So, hey, Bob, I just want to call it quits. And he gives her a shove, calls her a bitch, and they kind of like go their own separate ways. That's not the way that it works. Women plan this stuff out months, sometimes even years in advance to make sure that they're going to be taken care of when it comes to the economics of living after he goes, the breadwinner goes, if he is a breadwinner, to make sure that she's got control and she's got money. And that is usually because of taking custody arrangements of the children. It doesn't serve the children any benefit whatsoever to be with one parent on a full-time basis unless the other parent is a total loser. I've said this many, many times. But the problem is family law in the Western world really doesn't matter where you live, but check your family lawyer, does not motivate women to behave pleasantly, kindly, and in the best interests of the children. What it motivates them to do is control through money, and it's as simple as that. Next point. Desire tends to tank very quickly in women versus men. Esther Perel noticed this. She wrote a book called Mating in Captivity. She still is, a clinical psychologist, deals with couples and relationship counseling all the time now for many, many years. And in her book, she basically summed it up like this. Desire is going to drop in both men and women all the time. But the difference between men and women, if you take let's say a span of a 10-year marriage or even a longer term dating type arrangement, his desire goes down very slowly over time in most men. When it comes to women, it tanks very quickly. When you've been in a longer term relationship over a period of time, it's just women. I don't know why. I'm not a clinical psychologist. I can't speculate why. If you want to learn more about it, grab Esther Perel's book. It's called Mating in Captivity. It's on Amazon. It's an interesting read. By chapter 12, it gets amazing, actually, believe it or not. So those are the main reasons why, guys. You've asked me what my opinion is on marriage. Would I ever get married again? My answer to would I ever get married again is no, absolutely not. Again, I think I'll say this a second time. I've said it many times before. If you're going to invite the state, the government, family law into your house, into your castle, and allow it to decide what happens with your money when you can see your kids and your lifestyle going forward, okay, based on just legislation that may have nothing to do with the marriage, the breakup of the marriage, or anything like that, you're an idiot.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.